attempt at making this live, so I'm going to wait about a minute to see if it actually stays on this time. Because the two previous times, I was on for about 10 seconds, and then it just turned right off. So prior to me even getting into my topic, like I said, I just want to ensure that my live is going to stay on before I waste any more time speaking to people who can't hear me. Seems to be good so far. We're 51 seconds in, so I seem to be good so far. I restarted the phone to see if that might help resolve the issue, and seems to be so far. Okay, life's endurance race, and there's a track over there, and I had just finished running, and I was gonna do this live at the track, but obviously YouTube has been funny with me lately. Well, it's always been funny with me, but it's been especially funny with me lately. Like, the lives only seem to work for me well if I'm in my home. If I do the lives when I'm out anywhere, even if I have 5 bars, 5G or whatever, for whatever reason, it just cuts out. Like, it turns on and then it cuts out. So that's what happened to me twice. But it seems like it's okay. So far, so good. So I just finished doing my run. I always think about things while I run, which is why I used to have a series of videos that I would do directly when I finish a run, because if I do not get those thoughts out, I will completely just forget those things, and that's that. They're gonna be distant memories for me that I will never remember again for the rest of my life. Okay, can somebody take care of Roy? Roy wants to be escorted out of the building. Hi, Marshall, and hi, Edward. So the thoughts that I had, thank you for whoever did that. Thank you, Marshall. I remember having a conversation with a friend. Well, let me start from the beginning. When I used to participate in sports in school, it used to be all the sports that I did were sports where I could run fast and then I could rest. So I would do like basketball where I could get subbed out. I would do football where I play on offense. Each play is only going to be like less than a minute. You know, like I'm going to run a route for less than a minute, and then the play is over and I get time to rest. And those were all the athletics that I ever did. I remember when I tried out for my cross country team, which was the long distance running team, and I finished in last place in the tryout. Everybody thinks that all running is the same. You know what? I've been talking about YouTube so much that I feel like they're like, we are going to mess with you and send you a whole bunch of people every day that have nothing to do with what you're talking about. But you know what, YouTube? If you send me 40 to 50 trolls per live, and one or two of them subscribe to my page, I still won. Because getting one or two quality people from the random algorithm surges is worth waiting through those comments. And what are you honking at? Hi, Batman. Are you here to save the world? Okay. So anyways, I remember when I started doing long distance running. And for me, long distance is not that long. I mean, 5K, 10K. Matter of fact, I considered 1 mile as long distance when I first started getting back into that, when I was about 28, 29 at this point. And I remember I approached those long distance runs the same way that I approached 100 meters, 200 meters, all the short runs. And that was just run as fast as possible for as long as possible. But the longer the run is, the less you're going to be able to do that. So you get out the gates and you're running for 3 miles and you run as fast as you can for that first mile. Let's say you get through the first mile in about 6 minutes, which is not my time. I'm slower than that. But let's just say if I could run a mile in 6 minutes, let's just say I got through a mile in 6 minutes. Then I'm out of gas for the next 2 miles. And I'm walking or I'm running at a very slow 9-10 minute pace, right? So let's just say it's 10 minutes. I got 6 minutes on the first mile if you're following me, and then 10 minutes on the second mile and 10 minutes on the third mile. Overall, I ran for 26 minutes, right? But let's say I know my pace and I know that I don't average a 6-minute pace if I'm running 3 miles. So instead of running as fast as I can, I run at my pace. So I run a little bit slower than my fastest pace. And I run at 7 minutes instead of 6. And I do 3 miles, all at a pace of 7 minutes per mile. 7, 14, 21. So then I just ran 21 minutes for those 3 miles. When I came out the gates really fast and did my fastest work in the first mile and then was tired for the second and third, I ran 26 miles. So I'm 5 minutes faster, knowing that since it's a longer race, I have to take something off of my pace to be able to benefit my overall time so that I can still have some juice left when I get to the end of that particular race. Hi Soccer Goat, hi Lisa. It wasn't a race. I didn't run a race. I was doing my training on the track. So I remembered while I was running, I remembered talking to a friend of mine who told me that they had the opposite experience of me. You know how I always talk about doing sports that required short amounts of running and just being faster than somebody. You line up to somebody on 100-meter dash, the race is finished in like 10 to 15 seconds. And that's it. Even if you lose the race, it's a fast race. It's just a matter of who's faster. Like we line up, we start running, you beat me or I beat you, and it's over real quick. So I remember talking to my friend and she said, I was never good at any of those sports. Like I wasn't good at basketball, baseball, football, soccer, any of those sports where you're going out and sprinting and you have to be faster than other people. She said I was never good at any of those sports. Then she said, when we got into the long distance running, I started to find that the longer I ran, the better I got. And this is like an endurance runner's philosophy, or not even necessarily just a runner, but like an endurance athlete's philosophy. Somebody who's going to be doing some kind of sport that they are going to have to maintain themselves and their energy over a long period of time, possibly hours even in some cases. So when I first started doing endurance running and endurance activities, I brought a sprinter's mindset into that, where I was just like, you know what? I know that I'm faster than any of these people over the course of like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Like if me and this person line up and run as fast as we can for 5 minutes, I'm gonna win. I've mentioned this before, the first 5K that I ever did, I got super humbled. And the reason why I got super humbled was because of bringing that sprinter's mentality into an endurance race. And I just felt like even if I get tired, I'm so mentally strong that I can just push through being tired. No, endurance does not work that way, especially if you have not trained for it, because you have to train for it a lot to be able to have that extra kick at the end. So the race was called a Thanksgiving Day 5K, and it was the first time I had ever done a race on Thanksgiving Day. I think since then I have probably done 4 to 5 more of them, which is awesome, by the way. If you do any kind of running, a great time to do a run is on a day where you know you're going to do a lot of eating and sitting around. So something that I didn't know about race etiquette, because I had never done those kind of long races. I don't have any funny stories for you, Brittany. I'm sorry. So those long races, the people who are in contention to win the race stand on the front of the line. Because the reason for that is because of the beginning of race congestion, which could be the difference between like first place, second place, third place. If you are one of the faster runners and you have people in front of you and you have to run around them, you lose some valuable seconds in the race. So I remember I stepped right up to the front of the line because I'm fast. So that's the reason why they said faster runners go to the front, and slower runners go in the middle or the back. And I'm like, I'm not a slower runner, so let me step to the front. And then these guys came over to me and they were like, excuse me. And I'm like thinking, excuse me? What do you mean, excuse me? Like, excuse me, I need to get to the front. And I'm like, I'm here. What do you mean? So eventually I conceded a little bit and I went in the second row. So I let those guys get in the first row because they were so adamant about it. I stood in the second row and we started out running. They blew the horn. 3, 2, 1, blew the horn. And I started running. And I was keeping up with these guys. And it was kind of a pride thing because I was thinking to myself, you are not about to just move me unless you are so much faster than me that there's a reason for you to tell me to move out of the way. So I'm keeping up with them. For about the first 2 to 3 minutes of the race. We are all neck and neck, like next to each other. And I'm like, man, these guys didn't know that I am actually fast. And then I started to feel my chest was burning because I was not an endurance runner. As a matter of fact, I didn't even practice for that run. I didn't even train for that run. I did my regular gym stuff, which might have been like 5 to 10 minutes jog on the treadmill and then get into the weights. I was just mainly doing weight training at that time. So I stopped for a little bit and started walking. And I was like, you know what though? I just need a little pause and then I'm going to get right back to it and catch up to these guys. So I started running again, or I started trying to run. I got out 15 seconds, 20 seconds of running, something like that. And then I'm thinking about whether I'm going to the grocery store. I think I want to go to the grocery store. What time is it? 5:47. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, like I was saying, I kept up with them for like 2 to 3 minutes. My chest started burning. I walked. And then I started trying to run again. I could get like 10, 15 seconds of running. And then I was tired again. And then I walked for the majority of this race. I finished that particular race probably in about close to an hour. My fastest 5K time now was about 23 minutes, I believe. I'll have to double check that. Not that it matters for any of you, but for me, I like to remember those things. I think I've run a 5K in about 23 minutes. My average time and the current time that I do right now is probably about 30 minutes. So 57 minutes is, very slow compared to what I can do now. But the point was, I went out the gates trying to keep up with the people who were running next to me. And because of that, my overall time suffered. Because the thing with endurance, my mindset has shifted. Because I don't remember the last time that I have done things that require sprinting fast, 100 meters, 200 meters. I don't really even remember the last time I was on a basketball court, although I would like to get back into playing at least recreationally for fun, or a football field or anything like that. But now I'm so conditioned for the long run, and it's just, that's how life goes. Because I've realized, like, when you're young, when you're just starting out, everything is about getting things immediately, instant gratification. Like, you can reach your goals really quickly, and over time you start to realize, like, hey, some things take time to get there, and you have to have the patience, and you have to have a physical endurance level, but you also have to have a mental endurance to be able to push through when times are tough. Because when you're running, anyone who's done any kind of endurance running knows you get random pains. Like, I get random pains in my ankles and my toes and my back, this and that and the other. This thing hurts and that thing hurts. Or my calf, I'll feel some kind of pain in my calf. You have doubts. You have moments where you doubt yourself, and you're like, why am I even out here? Like, what am I doing here? Am I even capable of completing this thing? And you have to keep pushing yourself. And that friend who told me that they realized when they started doing endurance running, that they realized that endurance running was their thing, and the longer the race goes is the stronger they get. That's what endurance running has now done for me. Like, the first mile, I could feel all the feels. I could feel all the doubts. I could feel all the pains. I could feel all the things about, I want to stop, I want to quit. But I know that I'm not going to quit. I know that I'm going to be still going mile 2, mile 3, mile 4, mile 5. That race that I showed y'all that I did in Toronto took me 2 hours and 7 minutes. It's no joke to do a fitness competition for over 2 hours. You know what you go through mentally over the course of 2 hours of nonstop movement? Especially one where you're pushing a sled, you're lifting, you're doing farmer's carries where you're holding 60-pound weights. You're doing like the wall ball throw with the 20 pounds where you're hitting the target 100 times. You're doing the sandbag lunges with 60 pounds over your shoulders. And you're doing all that stuff, and you're running in between. You're running in between that. So to be able to keep going, it's a physical thing. It's a result of all the work that you have put in to that point, to get to that point. But it's also a mental thing, because there's certain things that you can't train for. You learn what you have for those things once you actually put yourself in the moment. All right. I was driving, so I couldn't really get to these comments. Hi, Cass. Hi, Ed. Hi, D. I am making a part. Hi, Ma. I don't know what a part is. It's quite impressive when you really consider it all. I'm more impressed by endurance athletes now that I have become one, because I'm not even gonna say I am like an endurance athlete. I am an endurance athlete. I'm not gonna win a marathon. I'm not gonna win a marathon, but if I start, I'm gonna finish. That's what I do know, because I have never started any race and not finished. But you know what? I remember being in a basketball game when I was about 17, and I got this nasty cramp in my leg. Give me 1 second, y'all. My apologies for that. Hi, Amir. And I got this nasty cramp in my leg, and I tried to continue playing that game, and I couldn't.
Clearly. I haven't seen you in a minute, and now they're following me.
But I'll tell you one thing, none of these endurance races have I ever... Oh, I forgot to bring a bag. I forgot to bring a bag with me. I'm gonna have to pay for a bag. Yes, it's that serious. I'm just grabbing a few quick things. For the week. Some vegetables. Trying to get my nutrition back on track. All right. What do we got here? Family back. Whole chicken legs. I don't know this grocery store too well. This is a grocery store by my house, so it's not, I'd rather go to a Stop and Shop. So this is literally just me buying a couple of things. But yeah, I remember like dropping out of some of those short activities because my body would just give out quick. But these long distance ones, sorry, I feel stronger as time goes on. Where is the seasoning in this place? chili powder. Seisan. Adobo Seisan. I know some people live and die by that stuff. Why am I not finding what I need here? Okay, I'm impatient, so I believe pick up some Seisan. Okay. All-purpose seasoning. I was actually looking for shake and bake. That's what I'm looking for, but I can't find it. Y'all remember those shake and bake commercials? It's shake and bake, and I helped. My next dilemma is how I'm going to hold this up and get all this stuff to the car. But I guess the bag that I'm going to have to pay for will solve that. Alright. Now I'm just going to get myself some Brussels sprouts. Oh, those prices hurt my soul. Oh, see, I always go for the whatever is on sale is the flavor of the day for me. Whatever is on sale is the flavor of the day. Like, that's what we're going with. 2 for $4 sounds like a plan. $4 sounds like a plan, man. Right? Yeah, this is getting complicated.
Thank you.
That's good.
Really? Wow.
What? Oh, yes, I know.
How do you chop that out?
Yes. Two. I'll take two.
It's getting a little late, guys. I don't know if we can make the phone. Maybe.
Thank you, you too. Thank you. All right. 2 bags of shredded lettuce, 2 bags of Alfredo, and blue. There's a lot going on with what you just said. 2 bags of shredded lettuce, okay. 2 packs of Alfredo noodles, I guess my mind is just combining all those things you said together, and it's turning my stomach because I can't. At different times, I'm assuming. Maybe you're eating the Alfredo noodles and you're having some lettuce, and the smoothie part is for like the morning or after a gym routine or something, because otherwise, what are we talking about here? See, it made me hiccup just thinking about it. Yeah, so I was having a conversation with my trainer about how I've let my goals go over the past couple of years. Well, not couple of years, over the past year, pretty much. And there was reasons for that, obviously, that most of you know, unless you're new here. But that's for a different vlog or a different live, whatever you consider this, different live. But that time period is over, and I still have those goals that I had before. And the only way for me to achieve those goals is to like lock back in with my commitment. The only way that I can keep up with a commitment for eating right is basically to go to the grocery store, buy the food, prepare the food beforehand, and then from there cook the food and have the food ready. Oh, now what am I doing? Shoot. Have the food ready so that when it's time for me to eat during the week and I feel hungry, I have it in my pre-made containers, and I can just pull out the containers from the fridge, and that's it. That's what I was doing when I was at my most optimal weight. Right? Actually Friday was my shopping day, because this is kind of a random shop, as you guys saw. But at the time, I have something I need from the Dollar Tree also. But you know what? I'm going to leave that one alone for now, because I believe I might have the item in my house. So that would save me the trip. But anyways, yeah, when I was functioning at my most optimal, it's tedious, right? To set yourself up beforehand. It's tedious. It feels tedious to have to go and create a grocery list, which I obviously didn't do here. I just kind of picked based on like, okay, I need some proteins and I need some veggies. But the trainer suggested to me to start out with some staple items and make sure that those. I have not done my meal prep and mixed things up and figured out my entire, this is what I'm going to do for my week. I always have something available. So my staple items are going to be my proteins and my vegetables. I learned from doing meal prep that unless you have fresh vegetable every week money, the frozen route is the one that I have to go with mostly. I did get some green beans that are not frozen, but those are only gonna last me probably 2 days. Yeah, probably 2 days for those. But hey, I'm gonna cook something up tonight, and I'm gonna have at least 3, maybe 4 days worth of food to eat, which is a good thing. Everything goes hand in hand. Being healthy is not just about getting out and walking. It's about your mental health. It's about your physical health, your financial health, your spiritual health, everything. It takes a lot of things to be a complete human. So I'm starting to when I say starting, I mean as of yesterday, I'm starting to try to put those things back on my agenda and go from there. Because I know that when I was at my best physically, it translated to many other areas of my life. But to wrap up this live, because I have been talking for about 35 minutes about very little, it seems like. Well, I've been talking about a lot, but for me, things seem like a little when I freestyle. My style that I much prefer is having an actual prepared thing to say, because then I know that when I don't do that, when I jump off the live, I'm like, shoot, I missed something. I missed multiple things. But thanks for the likes, by the way. Thanks for those 12 likes. The math is mathing today. But yeah, life is an endurance race. Life is not a race where they always say life is a marathon and not a sprint. And I know it's like cool saying, but it's the truth. Life is definitely a marathon and not a sprint. There's so many different things that you have to go through in your life. And if you heard my story at the start of this, you might be eager, like myself at the beginning, to go to the start line. And you're like, I'm going to be the fastest one to get there. And it's like, but there's no actual finish line. The finish line is the end of your life, and you won't be there to experience that. So as long as you're alive and living and breathing, you're always in this race. Have you ever run on a treadmill? Y'all know I hate treadmills, but have you ever run on a treadmill? What is the end? What is the end of the treadmill, right? There's a reason why the treadmill is one of the most depressing exercise machines ever invented, in my opinion. I mean, some people live and die by treadmills, but I cannot stand them. Because you stand on the thing, and you run, and you run, and you run, and you run, and you run. The same thing is in front of you the whole time that you're running. Matter of fact, I went to this gym. I don't know if you guys had these gyms in your area, but the gym is called 24-Hour Fitness. And in that gym, they have this interactive treadmill. I don't know if y'all have ever seen one of these treadmills, but you can program the treadmill so that you're running through something. They had one for the treadmill and they had one for the bike. So you could be like, I'm running a trail, right? So as you're running, it's showing you a screen in front of you as if you are navigating yourself through a trail. And then if the trail has hills and stuff, the treadmill will incline and the treadmill will decline. So you aren't just looking at the wall, or you're not just looking out the window while you're running. Like it makes it like a interactive experience. Even that did not make running enjoyable for me. Like maybe the first 1 or 2 times I did it, the novelty of it, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool and fun. And then I was like, you know what? It's still a treadmill. It's not taking me anywhere. Now, life is like that treadmill. Because there's not an end to whatever it is that you're doing. Like, you're not going to just, all right, my goal is to finish college. And then you finish college, and then you've learned everything that there is to learn in the world. Like, you finished college, and then either you go to school for some more knowledge, Or you just learn more things in the real world, but there's not an end to your learning. You don't get that big paycheck, or like, to even put it onto the reality TV. I've seen a lot of people asking Chelsea, like, what are you going to do with that money? You know, what's the first thing you're going to spend it on? What is going to be your first major purchase? We're talking about two different things when we talk about show winnings versus like somebody made it in a professional sport, right? So somebody makes it in a professional sport and they sign a contract with Nike or something, right? For 6 years, $100 million to be dispersed. They get a paycheck every month. I don't know, I can't really do that math right now, but let's just say they get a paycheck every month of like $500,000, and their first paycheck is $500,000, right? That's one thing. But if you're asking somebody who is getting a one-time payment of probably about 300 to 400, maybe like 400,000, let's go on the upper end. She lives in Texas, I think. No, she doesn't live in Texas. That was MJ. I don't know where she lives, but let's just say she gets $400,000 once. This is not I'm gonna chill for the rest of my life money. This is, if I do some smart things with my money and make some good investments, I can figure out ways after Big Brother to sustain myself in other ways. Like, it's not like the Big Brother money is the end to me ever having to work, because it's not enough. Everything that we do in life is requiring endurance. Everything in life, we experience ups and downs and highs and lows. And the thing that endurance running and endurance athletics have really taught me, they've taught me how to hang in there when times get tough. It's like a microcosm of life for me. Because like I said, you might look at a endurance athlete as some kind of a superhero that is just, oh, this person was just built tougher and stronger than the average person. You know how many people became endurance athletes later in life like me? When you start talking to people that do these things, a lot of them have similar stories as me. One second. A lot of them have similar stories. Hi, Nash and Palaver girl. A lot of them have similar stories as me, where they're like, you know what? Back in high school, I was running the 100 meter, the 200 meter. I was a 3-letter man. I played football, I played basketball, I played whatever, volleyball, soccer, whatever the sport was. And I was just like dancing on people on the field. And I was just speeding past everyone and nobody could stop me, etc. And now my back hurts and my legs hurt and everything hurts and I can't do that anymore. And then they were like, you know what? I decided to try to start running. And then running was hard. But then it's like, a lot of the people who win these runs or finish with the top times in these runs are older than me, are much older than me. I know runners that are like 50s, 60s when I do these things that finish these things faster times than me. And they're almost twice my age. And a lot of them tell me, I started at 40. I started at 50. Because endurance is more, to me, it's more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing. It is a physical thing as well, because yeah, you have to be trained. You definitely have to stretch yourself. You have to eat the right thing. So all of that is required too. But when you get out there on the field or on the track or wherever it is on the road, wherever it is that you are actually running or racing, um, you got to be mentally prepared to keep going when the times get tough. And that's basically the point of my message. Mark, you are so on the ball. One of my kids decided college wasn't for him, and I was freaking out. He went the apprenticeship route. Man, good for him. But the reason I'm saying it like that is because at times I question the college route. But there are certain doors that I wouldn't have been able to get in without college. So I'm okay with my mom having pushed me into that, because I was not planning to go to college. My mom pushed me into that. Hi, Tasha. Yeah, I remember I told her that I was not going to college. And I told her that I wanted to go to this trade school. And she was like, no. You can learn the thing that you want to learn in the trade in a 4-year college and go from there. Because if you try to do that trade and the trade doesn't work out and you don't have any other skills, then what are you going to do from there? That was essentially what she said to me. And now I'm here doing something with my life that has nothing to do with what I learned in school. But the job did say you must have a bachelor's degree to be able to apply for this job. So in a technical sense, it has helped me to get into these jobs that I have been doing over the past decade plus. And I'll leave it at that, because I think about those things daily. I think to myself, if I could go back 10 years, not 10 years, we're more than that now. 14 years. I think 14 years is when I graduated. If I could go back to 2005, when I had just finished college, or when I had just finished high school and I was thinking about college, would I have still gone to college? If I had an option, because my college was fairly expensive. I mean, it's not the top most out there, but it was up there for its time. My college cost me, the first year was $25K for the year, and the next 3 years was like 30. The next 2 years I think was 30, and the last one was like 35. So we're talking 30, 60, 95 plus 95 plus 25, about 120. So we're talking about $120,000. I didn't pay a full 120,000 because of a combination of things. I got a tuition discount from my dad working at the school. I got a scholarship for my ACT scores. And then the rest of it was taken care of by a loan. So I think that in terms of what I paid, okay, so my mom took out a loan for me, and I took out a loan for myself. So she covered part of it with the FAFSA loan, and I covered another part of it with the FAFSA loan. So I think for my portion of it, of that 120K, I think that I was only responsible for maybe about a quarter of that, maybe like 30,000. and I paid that off. I've paid that off since I paid that off in 2015. I finished school in 2011, and I was really hardcore, like, I'm not going to have this college debt hanging over my head. So I paid that off in full, like the 30,000 or so. I paid that off in about 4 years. I guess I put about 7 to 8 thousand a year towards making sure that was paid off. But my point of even saying all of that is that if you gave me the option right now and said you could go to college, or I can give you like 120,000, but you owe it back. $120,000 right now that you could have right now, but you are going to have to pay it back. But you can have this as some kind of business loan. I would take the money over the education. I would learn. I've learned probably, there's like a few things I can remember from school that have really benefited me that are still in my head, but there's a lot of things that I learned after school just from reading books, watching things on YouTube, and trial and error that I could have gotten without school. Teacher L, not hi Teacher L, by the way, but Teacher L, not so ironically, said, college develops independent thinking, self-motivation, you know what, and increases job options. I'm gonna be honest with you. I appreciate this comment. I do appreciate your comment. Thank you for that, and welcome to the page. I agree that it increases your job options. I don't agree that college develops independent thinking or self-motivation. Maybe on the self-motivation part, but not so much on the develops independent thinking portion, because you are learning a standardized system that, in my opinion, is just teaching you how to be somebody's employee. That's how I feel about that. You are learning how to be somebody's employee, because how many people out there own businesses, don't even have a degree, and then require you to have a degree to be able to apply to work for their company. But in terms of the other two things that you said, I'm 50-50 on the self-motivation, but I do understand your explanation, because I read the part you put in brackets. No teachers forcing you to attend or study. Interestingly enough, I actually remember my first year of college away from home. It was my second year of college, but it was my first year away from home. And I remember I was not going to class. I was not studying. I was not doing my homework. And I remember, like, the class that I was in, they had just started a system where you could actually log your attendance from the computer. So you didn't actually have to be in the class to log yourself as attended to the class, which was weird, but that was what was happening at that time. So the numbers of students that ended up coming to class were dwindling. And I remember the teacher actually, I walked into class one day and the teacher was like, so I've noticed that there's less of you that have been coming to class than, way less than what should be coming to class, basically. And he was like, I'm just going to make up a hypothetical figure. He wrote it on the board. He was like, each one of you pays $5,000 for the semester for this class. He was like, we have this class 2 days a week. So broken down into the semester, let's say every time that you don't come to this class, you are giving myself and the school $250. Let's say something like that. Yeah, that's what was happening in my school, actually, teacher L. That was happening in my school. So he was just like, whether you come to class and learn anything or not, my paycheck stays the same and what the school receives stays the same. So the only person who is losing anything is you. And he was like, I know that you guys think of, I know you guys think of like the money that is spent on your college education as monopoly money, because for most of you, it is not something that is directly coming out of your pocket. Your parents are helping you with it. You have FAFSA loans, grants, student loans, etc. So you're not thinking about actual physical dollars being given up to come to this class, but there actually is money that is being paid out for you to come here to this class. And the goal of you coming here is to learn something so that when you get out of the class, you can earn some money to pay back all of what is being loaned to you to have this education. And for some reason, maybe it's because he was speaking my language now. When he started talking that you're giving up actual money to skip my class, my attendance went up. My attendance went up. Why I said that particular story, I don't even know, to tell you the truth. Teacher L just brought me into a different space. But I appreciate that. No student loans is what we appreciate. Student loans are big bank, especially in the United States. The student loan itself is a business. A lot of people are making money off of going to college, and now there's all these online colleges. It's just like having a degree. Oh, I have a degree. Oh, okay. Back in my parents' day, having a degree pushed you up. Oh, you got a degree? You're getting a top dollar and you're getting a top job. Now it's just like, I remember when I came out of college and I was going around for my interviews and I was like, I have a bachelor's degree. And the employers were looking at me like, so, and what experience do you got? Not everyone requires post-secondary education. Some kids' brain work better with practical training. Yeah, and the thing that I didn't know also that I learned about myself is that I had terrible test anxiety. So my test scores, my school average in college was still a 3.2 or something like that, which is decent, right? 3.2 is not bad. It's like a B. I think that's like a B average. But the reason my grade ended up being a 3.2 was because I had test anxiety. And I didn't even know that that was a thing until I was almost finished with school. If I had known that early on and I had asked for accommodations, man, my grades would have been better. Exactly. How can you have experience if you can't get experience? I was so upset when I came out of school and I'm like $120,000 worth of education, right? So many hours of studying, test taking, presentations, just grinding away to get this bachelor's degree. And then I come out, and at the time in New York, minimum wage was like $7 an hour. And I was getting these offers of like $8, $8.50, $9. Oh, you can be a management trainee and work your way up. And I'm like, I have friends of mine who did not go to college and right now are making more money than me with my bachelor's degree. Like, what is really going on in this world? Matter of fact, I am now 14 years removed from college with my college degree and 14 years of experience. And I'm almost embarrassed about what I get paid. as a professional. I really am. And it's not even just about the pay, it's also about, I feel like the work that I do should get paid a lot more. But the thing is, they don't teach you in school about starting your own business. So people will tell me, oh, well, if you don't like what you get paid, do something yourself. You know, if my education had geared me up towards learning how to start my own business, that is what I would have been building towards all this time. So it's like, I know the fundamentals, like I know some of the fundamentals on how to start a business, but unless I was actively working and preparing towards that for a number of years, I would have a number of years to go before that happens for me. And I'm not saying that I have given up on that dream, but I just know that it would not be an easy thing to do at this stage of my life. Cult of college, now there's so many options. If I grew up in this era, I was just telling somebody the other day that if I grew up in this era, I would never have gone to college. And if you're a potential college kid, don't listen to me and do as I do, because I would still, you know, if I had a kid, I would still recommend for them to go to college. I'm just saying, for myself personally, I know that if I grew up in this era with these types of options, I would not have gone to college. Because back in the day, if you told somebody that you were an entrepreneur, unless they could tangibly see what you were doing and how much money it was making, you were a bum. What do you mean you don't have a job and you're an entrepreneur? You don't have a college education. What does that mean? You were not respected. Nowadays, there's people who sit on TikTok all day, from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed, and they make more in a month than I make in a year. Graduated high school in 83. Anyways, y'all, I have a few things to do, a few things to take care of. And this topic went all over the world, but I have fun when people comment and I can pivot and switch. So thank you to everyone who dropped in the commentary and made this discussion interesting. For those who are going to watch this on the replay, I did have a purpose coming in here. I guess you could say that this all contributes to the life being an endurance race conversation. But for those who have not been here, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. All right, and I'll talk to y'all soon.